Introverted Man here. You know what I love? I just love being told what I think, what I feel, what I believe, and what I don't believe. And by love, I mean the opposite. I mean hate. I hate that. It is disgusting, despicable, deplorable when people do this. And that's what's going to happen. We're going to be told, we what we want, what we don't want, what we feel, what we don't feel, what we believe, what we don't believe. We're going to be told this. And that's what I'm going to share with you. And then I'm going to rant about it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, there we go.
Why would anyone give up a life of luxury, success, and comfort to become a full-time volunteer? To work with neither a fixed income nor with financial security, and often work and live under very challenging circumstances. In Christian apologetics, it's seldom the arguments, however solid, that bring people to believe that God exists and that Christianity is true. Very often hearts are set not to believe, and even the truth and logic behind the arguments of God will seldom change deep-seated views. The atheist and the agnostic do not want God to exist.
All right. Now, that's as far as I made it last time I watched this. I don't think this time's going to be any different, to be honest. That's it. That's all I needed to hear. I didn't need to listen to more. I was done at that point. Don't tell me what I don't want. That is just no. He's like, oh, yeah. Well, I guess the Muslims just don't want your version of God to exist. I guess the Hindus just don't want your God to exist. They want their gods to exist. They must not want your God to exist. I guess the Zoroastrians don't want your God to exist, and the Native Americans don't want God to exist. They want their great spirit to exist. And, all the different religions around the world, they just don't want your religion to be true. That must be how that works. Right? Dr. Venter, right? That's just how that works. Nobody wants your God to exist except for people that believe in your God. They want it to exist, as if wanting something could change reality one way or the other. It's like, I want $1 million. At least I know that $1 million is real. Well, I've been told that. I haven't had it, so I'm not too sure yet. I'm a little bit skeptical. So if somebody wants to change my mind about that, go ahead and send me $1 million, then I'll know it's real. And we just don't want atheists and agnostics. They just don't want God to exist. Oh, really? Interesting. Why would that be exactly? Why don't we want it to exist? Please tell me how we think. I'm really interested to know how you know that we don't want this to be true. I just don't want it. I don't want to to accept that I didn't win the lotto. I just don't want it. Yeah. Just tell me more. Yes, please.
The implications of his existence often just too frightening. The purpose of Christian apologetics is to present the truth and make people think about the rationality and coherence of Christianity within itself.
Well, that's the purpose that you think that it has. That's the purpose that you think that it has. That doesn't make it the actual purpose. I think that the purpose is actually to just reassure already current believers that they have an intellectual way of framing their faith. That those out there who don't like, for whatever reason, they don't want to admit, say I can do the game too. They don't want to admit that it's faith. They don't want that to be the case. So they need Christian apologetics to come along and say, look, it's not just faith. There's intellectual arguments that you can have. Ah, yes. I love also how the video is called Evidence for God. Of course, we know there isn't evidence for God. And he actually admitted that to me in text. He did admit that his God doesn't have evidence for it because his God's beyond time and space. So it can't have evidence for it. Well, yeah. Then don't label your video that there's evidence. Either there is or there isn't. You can't switch what you want in mid-stride. Anyways, okay, please tell me more about why we don't want God to exist, though. Let's see if I make it any further than I did before. I don't think I'm going to make it through I'm not going to make it through this entire video. I'm not going to do the entire video because this is all I really wanted to complain about with this whole, telling me, what I want. It's just really annoying and irritating.
And also within modern science. Though at the end it is life-changing stories, the reality of the living Christ, that will convince people of the truth of Christianity.
Okay, so now I don't know that that's the case, but here's the question. Why should a life-changing story convince you of the truth claim of any claim? So, somebody's life was really bad and then they became an atheist and their life became really good. Does that make atheism true, doctor? See, that's the thing, is it's like you don't stop to consider what you're saying and think it through. What about the person? I knew somebody that converted, into Christianity, okay, and there's people that have converted out of Christianity, but the person that converted into Christianity, their story is, well, they, their friends and family all disown them and all this, and that's terrible, but we're all sitting there thinking, wow, this is an amazing story. How amazing we can tell this to other people, and it's like, um, but you think about it on the other side, they're like, well, she must have not wanted our God to believe in. She just wanted to go and sin or something. Um, it's just, I don't know. It's a story when it's interesting. Like, I was, doing drugs and alcohol and all these terrible things, and then I became a Christian. Oh, cool. So you stopped doing all that stuff? No, no, no. I still do all that stuff, but also I'm a Christian on top of doing drugs and alcohol and all these things. Oh, well, wait a minute. Your life didn't change, so maybe you're not really a Christian then, right? Because so does it discover the truth of an idea, any claim? People's lives change when they join a cult. Does that make that cult true? No. So this is not a good way to know if you found the truth or not. And it might be convincing to some people because people give in to testimonial. They shouldn't. When and if I see a web page that's like, here's all the testimonials, I'm like, okay, I'm done with that one. I don't need that product. Whatever it is, I don't need it. Why? Because if it actually worked, I wouldn't have testimonials. I'd have actual evidence that it worked, right? People, oh, this crystal helped me to feel better. Well, maybe it did, but that doesn't mean that the crystal makes you feel better. God.
What follows here is a Mercyships podcast, an interview with me, Tertius Venter, on the 10th of October 2022. I tell the story of how God touched and radically changed my heart, changed my life forever. This all happened within a few minutes when I encountered the living Christ.
All right, I think I got to that point last time when I first watched this video. But I was already pissed off at the whole being told, why I don't believe and all that stuff, which he didn't really go into. I don't care about your story. I just don't. And I think that's probably when I clicked away. I was just like, yeah, it's a story. I don't care. Because I don't care about your story. oh look, my life was changed when I found that this religion, whatever, and blah blah blah. It's like, look, whether are there people that work there that are different religions than you, or non-religious perhaps, that don't believe in anything? Why are they working there? They have different reasons, right? Maybe they just want to do it because it's an interesting job. Maybe they do it because they feel like it's something worth doing. I knew an atheist that we would exchange every now and then emails. I kept trying to encourage him to write his life story, but he didn't want to. But his life is rough because of his job. He does hospice, so basically he gets to know somebody and takes care of them and watches them die. That's his job. That's a brutal job, I'm like, why do you keep doing it? Well, because it's the right thing to do. He doesn't believe in God. So what's that tell you? It's like, it doesn't tell you anything. It doesn't tell you whether it's true or false, that there is or isn't a God. It just tells you that somebody picked a job that's difficult to do. People do this. It happens. And, that doesn't make the claims surrounding that true or false. Would you have not joined this ship and done all these charitable things if it wasn't for Jesus? I think you probably would have. You just have that, you're just that sort of person, you know. Hopefully, maybe, unless you're saying that the whole reason that you do anything good is because of Jesus. So it's not really you that's a good person, it's Jesus. So you're a terrible person. But that's the story that some Christians have, is yes, that's right, I am a terrible person. It's Jesus that's so great. What a terrible backwards way to look at yourself, though, wouldn't that be? But yeah, so this video irritated me just straight out of the gate with that whole "you don't want it to be true." And Gurmania says something in chat worth commenting on. I don't want the Christian God to be real, but I'd want to know if it was real, if it indeed was real. Well, yeah, so there's that sentiment. So that's a little bit different, isn't it? So it's like, okay, sure, you've got somebody that will admit, I don't want this to be true, but I'd want to know if it was true. See, so the idea that somebody wouldn't want something to be true doesn't mean that therefore you couldn't show and demonstrate that it was true. And maybe I clicked away too fast because yeah, I kind of wanted to go over the comments a little bit of what was there with but you can read the comments if you want yourself, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I'm sitting there saying, you don't have any evidence or repeatable test for this. He's like, well, you wouldn't make that complaint if you listen to what sort of God I'm talking about. My God's outside space time. So I'm like, so then you agree with me that there's no evidence or test for it. Of course, I don't know how you would know that it's outside space time, but okay, that's another problem. So then why would you name your video evidence if there can't be evidence for it? Make up your mind. Yeah, crystals, the new EG stuff, yeah, all that stuff, Yeah, that's like a whole nother video there too, isn't it? Yeah, it's just like, oh, the crystals, they do stuff. No, it's a pretty rock. It doesn't do anything. Anyway, so this really irritated me, and maybe it irritates you. And if it does, leave a comment on his thing and tell him how irritated you are about him telling you that you don't want to believe in God. And maybe if enough of us do that, he'll realize that he's wrong. Maybe, I don't know. It's just an idea, possibly. You're not going to comment on this video, so I'm just going to tell you to comment on some other video. Maybe you'll do it. I don't know. All right, that's all I got, I guess. For now. See you next time. And next time will be a thing. That's next time. And then I'll do it.